Ini sudah masuk area dalam karangannya masjid. Seperti inilah lokasi parkirannya. Itu. Sudah sampai saat ini, mau masuk masjidnya sekarang. Ini adalah suasananya di dalam masjid ya. Wow, hanya seperti ini di dalam masjidnya. Sekarang saya mau ke atas. Ini adalah di ruangan auditorium ya, semacam apa buat pertemuan, tempat makan, tempat acara. Istri saya juga di sini. Ini adalah di lantai 2 tempat auditorium masjid.
America, and we will start inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yusikumullahu fi auladikum lidzakari mithlu hazzil unthayayn. Fa in kunna nisaan fawqa ithnatayn falahunna thulutha ma tarak. وإن كانت واحدة. She is the director of asset building. It's called biodiesel.
Congregate here today, and thank you, Sister Rabia, that already give us such a valuable resources. Right, a lot of people do not know about the website that Sister Rabia just shared. So my expertise is actually more to estate planning from the United States law standpoint. So we all know that we all immigrated from different countries, right? Some of immigrated from Asia, some of immigrated from Africa. But fortunately, now we adopt United States as our country, right? Our kids born and raised in this country. And as Sister Rabia said, that everything need to be written down so our kids will understand. And mashallah, we do not know, Allah is the best planner, right? We could plan that like someday I'm going to retire back home in Pakistan, back home in Bangladesh, but best planner, right? We do not know where we're going to take our last breath. So therefore, there is so important to start thinking about estate planning. And plus, we already read the surah earlier from Surah An-Nisa that is actually a must, is a wajib, is an obligation for every Muslim to have their wasiyah before they pass away. So let me start. Inshallah, my expertise, as I said again, more to the law side from United States of America, estate planning will and trust. So, the title is actually very controversial. When I put this, a lot of people say like, wow, that's pretty scary, right? Estate planning is about control. And I think it's really important where we stand here as a Muslim, because we need to put control to our wealth. In United States of America, if we don't put control on our wealth, government of United States of America will take that control and they will not give it to our kids. Our kids need to fight that control to very rigorous court system. This is happening all the time. So who will control your asset after you pass away, right? Who will control? Do you want your family to control it? Do you want your masjid to control it? Or do you want the United States government to control it? So to make it easy, I make this like Teacher Rabia, you teacher of high school? I make this as a 5th grade level actually. So it's going to be much easier. I just break it down to 3 things. So the first thing is when you pass away and you have no plan at all. And a lot of us, a lot of Muslims, we may not understand how important it is, or nobody ever read the surah before, or nobody ever teach them. So they just pass away without any will, without any wasiyah, right? Many times it's happened. And on the first situation, if you pass away without plan at all, you give up all the control, like 100% of the control of your asset to your government, to the state of Virginia, and to the federal government of United States of America. The second one, if you have a will, Sister Rabia already shared with you a sample of a will, right? Fortunately, if you have a will, you have some control. What does that mean? Meaning that at least there is a way for you to show to the state of Virginia, this is how I want my asset to be distributed, right? Just like the sample of Sister Rabia, right? I want 1/3 to my son, 1/6 to my son, 1/12 to my daughter, right? There is a guideline. But there is an unfortunate on that because the state of Virginia to have still able to interfere with that will that you've written, even though it's already signed in front of a notary public and 2 witnesses. That's how you're going to execute it, your will. Notary public and 2 witnesses, right? But there is a third situation where you're going to have full control, 100% control. Nobody going to control your asset after you or your wife pass away, but you and your family. The way is through a trust. This is what really a lot of our community not have the understanding, the holistic understanding about will and trust. So let's talk about it, right? So again, remember the first option? No plan. You pass away, then there you go. The government have a control, you have no control. Your kids, your wife still going to have control, but not your kids, right? How the government will control your assets? Anybody ever heard about probate? Raise a hand. Ooh, I'm so proud of you, sister. You heard about probate? So probate is one of the way that our government control our assets, right? So for those of you that never heard about probate, probate is actually a court. All right? So it's a form of a court. So let's imagine this. All of you came to this masjid. You drive a car, right? Nobody ride a bike or walking, right? It's kind of too hot to walk anyway. So you drive to the masjid. But you just run the red light. And the police say like, beep, beep, right? You run the red light, ma'am. I'm sorry, I need to give you a ticket, right? So what happened after you get that ticket? What court that you need to go? Traffic court. That's right, right? And imagine this, husband and wife, they want to adopt a son, let's say, right? They go through the adoption process. Money. Every court, imagine. In the traffic court, aren't you going to spend your money? Oh yeah. In the immigration court, you cannot spend just $100, $200. They ask for thousands of dollars, correct? Imagine we're talking about probate court. Imagine your home. Is anybody down here have a $50,000 home? No, right? Nobody have $50,000 home. Your home is what? 200,000, 500, 750, right? Ooh, the court love you. They will see like 20% to change. And what another sad part of the court is a time wasted. Average of probate court in United States of America is 2 years. Just to finish with a case. Can you imagine you pass away in January, let's say, husband and wife pass away January 1, 2024. The kids will not able to clear everything until 2026. That's long time, correct? And that's the average. Some state even longer. Where I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just the waiting list to get to probate court, it's already take 9 months Just the waiting list, not even like getting the case in and everything like that. I do not know about Virginia, but think about the average. Now, we talked about will earlier. Remember, when you have a will, you have some control. You have some control in a matter of distribution, right? You could say my 401k such and such goes to what, right? But this is the kicker. A lot of people do not know. Even you have a will with the signature of a notary public and two witnesses, the state of Virginia still going to call you to probate court. What a surprise. This is what our community do not realize, right? And again, when you are in probate court, the money will get spent, the time will be wasted. And the other part that really, in my opinion, very, very intrusive about probate court, everything about our assets, who we going to give our inheritance, what organization that we're going to donate, it will be a public knowledge. Anybody could do research. Let's say my uncle passed away 5 months ago, 2 years ago, and his inheritance go to probate court, let's say. Maybe I'm not close to my uncle, but once the probate court released the information, I could just go to Virginia State Probate Court System, pay a little fee. I will see how much he has on his inheritance. I could see what organization that he's given, how much its kids going to get, everything. Don't you think it's a little bit intrusive that someone, even a stranger, could have a research to your personal matter? That's why when, okay, does anybody know Michael Jackson? The singer, right? I love you. She's like, I know Michael Jackson. Like, all these celebrities, right? The celebrities, through what? Through what we call a living trust. There is multiple way of living trust, right? There's our asset for the masjid is much better. Then go to the federal government and they will ship it to, right? And no more time waste. That 2 year, remember the average of 2 year wait the next week. Bring the trust on their hand to their name. Better. Now, here is what will or trust could do. You see that on the middle part over here, the will, you will need to, I mean, I love my attorney, okay? But we all know some attorney charge $300 an hour, right? 1 or 2 year delay on distribution. That's what I was talking about. The probate court is delayed about power of attorney, right? So let me tell you my own situation. He's still bike, and one Saturday they call him to office, overtime, whatever the situation. He bike with his roommate to the office. His roommate find he get hit for the 5th time. He's not quite well. The ambulance took him to the hospital. He was unconscious. I came to the hospital. Again, he no longer unconscious. He sits on the bed of the hospital, smiling and giggling. It's like, good job, mommy. You're not crying this time. You know, this is not crying, but like, doctor, why nobody tell me about this? See, because I do not know that my responsibility of planning is fall on me, right? Since then, I learned. I make sure that I have his power of attorney. And imagine, I know your sister, brother have kids outside the state, right? Your kids could be going to college.
It's not an easy task. This presentation will confuse more than resolve anything.
for all of us, where do we start? So now we know that trust is important and what's the benefit of having a trust and will. But
Such a question.
I think let's answer that two questions first, and then we add more questions.
this answer is on behalf of MAP administration. So the purpose of all the programs that you see in MAP are the goal is to educate the community about the relevant topics that are most commonly community faces, and we feel there are answers, but we are not connecting to those answers or resources. So this is the purpose of this workshop and many other workshops that MAP does. And now the answer to my question.
Yeah, so first we're going to do the workshop, the education, right? After everybody aware, this is just like a little bit top, from the entire knowledge of living trust, will and trust. Like I mentioned, there is a different type of trust. The special immigrant trust, revocable trust, unrevocable trust. For those of you that have kids with special needs, kids with autism, kids with a special syndrome, everyone have different needs. So it's always customized.
The reason I asked that question is because I personally am involved very deeply in all of that. The first thing is needed is to do it.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, a really great additional. If you remember on this presentation down here, on the very bottom it say anyone who has any asset need to have trust. But if you don't have asset, you still need a will, right? Especially if you have a children. But if you have childless, you have no children at all, just like the brother said, that you still need your healthcare directive, right? Your healthcare power of attorney, just like my son, right? My son have no child. He's 18 though. He need power of attorney. He also need financial power of attorney, right? So that's including in the will.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.
I like all the knowledge and information that you are giving us, because in our community we don't have that much knowledge to give or understand, and we are always misguided and misunderstood. So I really appreciate that from you and us, that everything to.
Thank you, sister. I think you're a little bit late. We actually talked the difference between will and trust in the very beginning. So I would gladly giving you another thing. So inshallah, we will able to help you, sister.
So thank you. I appreciate what you just said. Of course, this is very good. Especially, I'm a tax professional. I also deal with a lot of tax planning myself. And two questions is, do you set up for all 50 states? And of course also for the community, if anyone needs any explanation in tax terms of any of those, I can probably help. I also am part of the community, but two things.
Such a great conversation. I think we need to connect because you're on the taxation side, right? Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we have lawyer in all 50 states. I explained to our sister that myself, I have financial license in 37 states, but our lawyer, we have 50 state lawyers. So if you have connection in Alaska, in Hawaii, we could help them.
That's one of the things I wanted to make sure that sister has a license too. So, but then I needed to get the CD of this MRI to get from one doctor to another doctor. They sending me to the doctor, sending him. I was not able to do that.
Earlier we talked about talking to lawyer is very complicated, right? Is that a way so for us to create our own living trust? Is that a question? So living trust, Sister Sophia earlier mentioned. How thick? This thick? Your living trust documents? sister, where is the sister that you, how many pages your living trust, sister? 30, 40 page, that's thin. Usually, average, not the assets. Okay. The meat of it. See, the recording itself, that's actually very, I would say, effective, right? Other state, not 12 pages. It could be like 16 to 20 pages, right? And other state, like I live in Pennsylvania, the simple living trust, sometimes 150 pages. And if it is simple, let me tell you what is simple. You only have one married with the lawyer that have a license on your state, right? So they could bridge the gap, right, to create it. And again, as we mentioned, the lawyer going to make confused even more. That's why they have people like me. A lot of lawyers cannot talk simple. That's the problem. They have a very good example. How much you spend for your living trust, Sister Sophia?
I'm not going to tell.
You're not going to tell.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Will and trust is a very good thing, and actually is a must. But also keeping up with the will and trust is a very important thing, because many of us, once we get it done, we say, oh, thank God, now I have the will and trust done, and there's no any problems. But if any changes happen, like we lost one of the inheritors, or we got a new inheritor, like a new born baby girl or boy, and changed the whole thing, so now the trust.
Trust is living trust. What does that mean? It's a living document, right? It will change, right? Because as a brother said, you might have another kids, right? Or you want to give inheritance to your, let's say, your organization, and the organization is no longer valid, right? Or there is changes. That's why it's called living trust. There is an upkeep that you need.
And a brother who's written a book, an Islamic book, about inheritance. So I guess it's time for us to invite them back. And the sisters will do that, unless you guys get off your duffs. Second, for years, every Saturday on AM 63, there has been a show about keeping your money in your family. And it's this lawyer, it's from and sundown seminars. And so, alhamdulillah, I went to one of the seminars and I got a lot of good information. This was years and years ago. And I helped revamp my brother, my father, and my mother's their wills and trusts. And like they say, you end up with a notebook.
This is the continuation of the question, right? So you have 2 property and 2 sons, and you want to make just one son as a trustee, or both sons as a trustee?
No, one son for one property.
Oh.
Another son for other property.
Yes, yes. It's you could do split like that. Some people, they say like, okay, my first son going to be my trustee for this property, my other son going to be trustee for my other property. Or some people going to say like, this both sons need to communicate to each other to make the decision.
You can ask her permission for this student.
Alhamdulillah acara sudah selesai dan acaranya cukup sukses sekali, banyak pertanyaan sampai kewalahan panitianya. Suasana ruangan auditorium di lantai 2.